Pierre revises his opinion of Kent Bergsma. So, some of you may have seen Kent's video recently of his green Ghost, the 1980 W116 300 SD that he decided to part out, which was thistle green with the green interior. And so this video particularly upset me because it seemed like it was a nice car. According to my friend Caleb, he had offered the car on Craigslist for $800 and it was missing its engine and transmission. So why am I so irritated about Kent and Mercedes Source parting out what appears to be a car that they were trying to sell that has no engine or transmission, and then calling out his subscribers as being all talk and no action in this last video, and then deciding to part the car out? Well, this is sort of a logic puzzle. So if you are going to get upset because I'm criticizing Kent or Mercedes Source, then you should probably turn your computer off. I don't do this channel because I'm trying to gain a bunch of subscribers or become Mr. Mercedes. I'm doing it because I tell the truth. The number one thing that I do is I use my God-given talents to help Mercedes owners, and I feel that anybody who has a talent in anything should be sharing it and paying it forward, because paying it forward has gotten me a lot further in life than asking people for things. That's why I don't force people to make Patreon contributions before I give them information. I give them information hoping that they will make a Patreon contribution. So, anyway, back to the green Ghost. Now, doesn't it seem a little fishy to you that Kent, the all-knowing Yoda of Mercedes Benz Classic, at least in terms of diesel four-door sedans, would offer this car repeatedly and then decide to part it out instead of actually proving his abilities by taking this car, which was basically a shell with no engine in it, putting an engine and transmission in it, and breathing new life into it? I mean, that's what we do here. I've personally purchased a lot of cars, including my own 1983 300D, which was, somebody told me I had a rod knock in that car, and it wasn't a rod knock, it was a cracked flywheel flex plate, you know. But I've purchased a lot of Mercedes that were basically hopeless and put them back on the road. And I find it very strange, frustrating, and annoying that Kent didn't choose to prove that he actually has passion for and loves these cars by putting an engine and transmission back in this thing and reviving it. I mean, don't most of you think that if you're like the king of kings when it comes to classic Mercedes, you should be able to do this easily and effectively with parts that you have on hand and skills and abilities within your workshop? It really makes me doubt Kent a lot, and it makes me lose faith in him, which, in my opinion, you know, means that, I mean, who can we trust if we can't trust Kent Bergsma? So this is causing me to look very hard at what Kent is doing in his business, and I've reached out to a number of people asking them what they think of Kent's product. So one of my subscribers, my friend Jamie is an awesome guy, by the way, rated his injector nozzle set very highly. Another one of my good friends, Melissa, rated, well, Melissa's a Facebook friend, but I think she's awesome because she's rescued so many classic Mercedes, unlike Kent in this case. Sorry, Melissa, but I'm just pointing out the obvious. She said his valve adjustment kit came with very clear instructions and was very helpful. And so a few months ago, I promised some of you guys an update on Kent's turbocharger kit. It seems like all of the parts in the kit that were made by another manufacturer that was not Kent were fine, but all of the tools and parts that he produced are basically useless, and we had to send a good chunk of the kit back. In fact, we only ended up using a few rubber O-rings and the new turbine shaft, which was really all we needed. but we had to keep the new bearings and keep some other parts from the old turbo. And at the end of the day, yeah, 10,000 miles later, it's still working, but you know, the point is that only the parts sourced from third-party manufacturers seem to be acceptable. Now, going back to what other people had to say that was more negative, my friend Rob, who owns Potomac German Auto Works in Silver Spring, Maryland, commented that Kent has done an exceptionally good job monetizing people's passion for classic Mercedes, which is very astute of Rob to point out. Now, I have no problem with Kent monetizing that passion, but then when he crucifies and disassembles a perfectly good car because he doesn't feel like or isn't willing to put it back together, then it makes it look like he doesn't really have any passion. Now, does he? The whole problem with this is that you can only explain him not willing to be able to fix this car by either laziness or lack of physical ability or lack of knowledge, because apparently he has the shop, he has the parts, he has the knowledge, or so he says, he has the tools. I mean, Kent, demonstrate all your dinky little tools by fixing this car right, you know? Show us how great your tools are by taking this thing that's essentially a shell and making it run again. And in fact, you know, I like to look at a quote that a friend of mine shared with me where he said, a good mechanic can make a non-running car run again, but only a miracle worker can bring the absolute dead back to life. And in this case, I guess Kent is really just a businessman who's made a bunch of dinky little tools, you know, to clean out sunroof drains, or some bent wrenches that were made from Harbor Freight tools to tighten up your injection pump bolts. But when it comes to actually proving to us that he's capable of doing what he is teaching us to do, it's just not happening. This would sort of be akin to somebody from YouTube bringing me a car that had major issues and saying, "Hey Pierre, could you make this 300D that's missing its engine and transmission," which is actually not a very hard problem to solve. Could you take this 300D or 300SD or even something complicated like a 300 SEL 6.3 and bring this car back to life? And my response would be, sure, no problem. And in fact, if somebody dropped the car off on my doorstep and it was a rust-free solid car with a nice body and a nice interior like that 300 SD was, you know, anybody who knows me knows that I would take that car and I would start immediately putting a plan to get it back together on the road. I think that some of you know me personally can vouch for me. So to wrap this video up, I'm extremely disappointed. And I think that Kent might be making some good tools here and some crappy tools there. But really this shows me that his business is just a business. And that at the end of the day, when he comes up with these weak justifications, like, I'm taking this car apart so another car can live on. Bullshit. You don't need a perfect original wood set. You just send it to Igor at Restored in USA and he'll refinish it for you. You know, you don't need a perfect pair of seats. You can buy seat covers from GAHH for these cars, especially in MB Techs. You don't need a perfect dashboard. You can send your dashboard to Just Dashes and they'll recover it. You don't need to take apart a whole entire car to make another car live on. You just restore what you got. It's totally doable. So, going back to what I was saying, yeah, Kent, if you're watching this, I'm disappointed in you and I expected better from you and I thought that you were a better person, that I thought you truly loved these cars. And I'm telling you right now that I don't think you do. And honestly, I think at this point you've kind of lowered yourself to Alex's level at Reinvent the Wheel, where at Reinvent the Wheel it's just a business. And I guess Mercedes Source is first and foremost a business that capitalizes on people's passion for classic Mercedes while selling a few good products that are actually kind of useful. And that's not what we do here at Pierre Hedary. Our number one mission is to keep these classic Mercedes on the road. No matter how much sleep we lose, no matter how much of our time we have to put into it, no matter how much of our skill set we have to redevelop, you know, no matter what tools we have to make, and no matter how many people we have to help. So if you enjoyed watching this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you didn't, too bad, because this is just my opinion. And if you have anything to say, leave a comment below. And last but not least, remember that when you support us on Patreon, you're helping keep things like this situation from happening, and you're creating a better long-term future for so many great Mercedes. So in the meantime, enjoy driving your Mercedes Benz. Take good care of the one you have, and anything that Kent Bergsma can do, you can do too. And now I'm sure of it. Sayonara.